welcome back to the vlog. In today's vlog, I'm once again playing a hand history from the 25K PokerStars Player Championship. This was a very cool and unique tournament. $25,000 buy-in, had 1,000 entries, ended up getting 400 satellite entries. So very, very, very interesting tournament. Wide mix of decent pros to elite pros and some fun players. So fun tournament, very unique. Kind of similar to the main in that, you get this really interesting mix of players, and it's a larger buy-in, and it's a freeze out, but definitely tougher. So in today's hand history, I get dealt ace jack of spades on the button on a 68K stack. It is big blind 600 plus an ante. Starting stack in this tournament was 60K. Fold to the hijack, who raises to 1,500 from a 40K stack. The cutoff, which John Racner calls, and I have my ace jack suited on the button, and the decision is on me. Versus just the hijack open. So first we're going to look at the hijack opening range on 70 big blinds. We're going to call it 60. So this is hijack's opening range, about 28.5% of hands. I think with all strong players behind, that they're probably going to be opening relatively close to this, maybe a tiny bit tighter. So the 2.5x, I would expect it to be around this 28%. This is what Racner's range is supposed to look like. So he is in the cutoff versus a hijack open, 60 effective. So everything that is in yellow here is Racner's calling range. So he's calling about 10.5% of hands. A lot of ace x suited, king x suited down to like king 8. Queen jack, queen 10, queen 9, jack 10, jack 9, 10 9, 10 8, 9 8 suited connectors, all pairs. I would expect if he had ace king, he's just pure 3-betting it. He might be pure 3-betting these ace queens as well, and probably pure 3-betting 10s plus. So I think his range is going to look a little bit different than this. A couple less traps. That being said, I also don't think he's 3-betting a lot of these other hands as well. I think his range is probably going to be a little bit tighter than this. A little more capped, and that kind of changes my approach to this a little bit too. So for overcalling and squeezing, now this is what my range is supposed to look like. So button versus hijack cutoff, button squeeze versus hijack and cutoff on 60. So this is what my range is supposed to look like. I'm supposed to be very 3-bet happy, but look at that ace jack suited there. It just works so well as a call. I mean, I unblock a bunch of lower suited hands. I'm in position. My hand is going to play really well multi-way, plus I have position. So my decision here, I thought in game, was very obvious, just a call, and that's what I did. So I call, pot size is 6, blinds both folds, we're 3 ways to the flop, and pot size is 6K. So the flop is the king of spades, the 7 of hearts, and the 5 of diamonds. So I have ace high, but I have a backdoor royal draw. So something to notice in our solve here is cutoff doesn't actually have cards. So in solver world, we were viewing this as being a heads up pot. In the real world, actually we were 3 ways, which obviously changes things a little bit. I think what it does is it probably strengthens his betting range a bit. I do think they're probably going to be checking here largely. I think they probably are going to split between 2/3 and quarter pot, being a good theory player. I do think in general, though, that when they do bet, if they have their strongest hands, they're probably going to upsize a little more frequently. But I could see them choosing a quarter pot with their strong hands as well, trying to induce floats. So I definitely need to tread pretty carefully here. So I'm not going to be floating super, super, super light here. But I definitely still need to have hands like what I have as a float. So when they do bet here, I do expect that I'm largely folding. I definitely am having some calls, and I'm having a pretty low percentage of raises, probably raising less than 7% would be my guess. So what ends up happening in game, hijack continuation bets for 2K into a pot size of 6K. Racner folds, so we are now heads up. And then this is what my raising range is supposed to look like. Looks like I was a bit off. I do get to raise a little bit more frequently here at 13.5%. But what does ace jack of spades do? We are calling. Pure call. Now, versus what I think his actual range looks like, I do think my range should look a bit tighter than this. I'm definitely folding way more than 11%. I don't think I can float anywhere near this amount. And actually, I'm pretty surprised that the float percent is that high. I thought we were largely folding here, so calling here is 75%. It's kind of crazy.
Don't be a nit, Ryan.
I guess it's because hijack has a fairly loose opening range, and on the button we have a pretty condensed range in general, and because we're deeper effective and we're going to have position on future streets, we get to float more often. So hijack continuation bets. He goes a third pot and I call. So pot size on the turn is 10K, and the turn is a very beautiful card. It is the 5 of spades. So it is a board pair. While not, amazing, it's a board pair. Gives me the nut flush draw. And when he goes a quarter pot, I don't think he's going quarter pot with flop sets. Maybe pocket kings, maybe, but I don't think he has pocket fives. I think he has pocket sevens. So I'm not too worried about him having a full house. That's why the board pair here doesn't matter that much to me. It's not really a scare card until he bets. He goes 8K into a pot size of 10K. So in Solver World here, we don't have him doing that ever. We just have him going pot. I think the pot size here probably looks pretty similar as to what his range actually looks like. So we're going to say he bets pot. And versus a pot size bet, we'll reverse this 80% pot bet in game. I have a very easy call. My ace high could just be the best hand. I am drawing to the nut flush, and I think I am drawing to the effective nuts here. My ace could be good as well if I don't have the best hand now. Also, if I don't have the best hand, I guess actually if I don't have the best hand, my jack is probably 0% good. Maybe not 0%, but a very low percent. It has to be sub 5. So he bets effectively pot 8K into 10K. And what do we have in Solver World with ace jack of spades? We have a pure call. Of course, it's a call. Folding would be an exploitative decision that I'm certainly completely, totally comfortable making versus vast majority of opponents in the vast majority of fields, but versus someone that was very, very clearly a very good theory player. I believe, a very easy call.
A fun drinking game is to take a drink every time Ryan says very. Don't blame me if you die. Not my fault.
Now the river is where things get interesting. Okay, so the river is a 10 of spades, which is absolutely amazing. Love the river, great card, awesome. On the river, he has a stack size of 29,000, and he bets 5K for about 20% pot. Now, when he bets 20% pot here, I'm not surprised by it. A lot of trees have river sizes that are between 15 and 25% pot for out of position player. We have the 10% size for a lot of different reasons. I'm kind of treating his river bet as though he bet, in my mind, as though he bet a quarter pot. And the quarter pot size, if we see here, or even the 10% pot size, he has aces, he has some ace queen as bluffs, ace jack as bluffs, queen 9, also you can have flush occasionally, some king x, but it's largely bluffs, a little bit of 5x, little pocket aces, tiny bit of king x, some quads, some nut flushes, but I have the nut flush. So when he bets this, I actually thought in game that I had the best hand. I was very confident about that. I thought that maybe 95% of the time I had the best hand, but I still tanked. And when I'm tanking, what I'm considering is if I raise, obviously I just win the pot 95% of the time, no problem, at minimum. But what's the likelihood that he either bluff jams, so say I raise to 12K and he jams his 17K more for 29K total. What's the likelihood he bluff jams there? Probably not going to happen. And then what's the likelihood he actually calls with one of those worse hands? Because I think when he bets, this 20% blocker, does he really have a flush ever? And what flushes can he even have? He could have, I guess, queen nine of spades, but if he has that, I think he goes larger. A lot of his flushes are supposed to just go bigger. Maybe he could have 8-9 of spades. He could have...
It's okay, kids. Daddy High Hands is here to save you. Basically, Ryan doesn't want to value own himself by raising the river when it's very unlikely that villain will either bluff 3-bet or call with a worse hand.
But like in this tournament, are they really going to like find one of those calls? Do they think I'm going to be capable of finding a bluff here? I mean, maybe, but I doubt it. It's just like, I was pretty active at this point, but no one had really seen many of the hands I showed down. Like, people really hadn't seen many of the hands that I was playing. That Jack 10 bluff that I had in previous vlog, nobody saw that. I wasn't showing hands. I didn't get to play a lot of many hands at Showdown. So I probably wasn't viewed as being hyper aggressive or anything like that. So if I think this player is capable of folding the vast majority of their range to my raise, I don't think I'm really getting called by worse hands, then I think calling for me isn't only the best decision, I think it is way the best decision, in large part for one extra reason. I just get to see what he has. I get to make a decision. I get this extra information that allows me to make better future decisions versus him and versus others. And by me calling here, I'm also giving a lot of information to the table that says that I am not capable of finding thin raises for value. That that when I'm raising the river, that I'm very polarized. And honestly, that's not a bad thing. That is a completely and totally fine thing, because when I do have these spots in the future that are better for me to raise because I expect to actually get bluff caught a decent amount, I can raise thin for value there, get over bluff caught, and be better because of that. So yes, this call is very nitty, but I think it is by far the best decision that I'm supposed to make in this exact situation. Let me know if you disagree with that in the comments below. Thank you for watching this hand history. I hope you really enjoyed it. Stay safe and healthy out there, and best of luck at the tables.